consciousness expands, evolves, so to say, and it reaches its peak in a human form where it has so much freedom, then the living entity has to be more cautious about how it uses it. When we misuse it, we lose our freedom, or when we use it for the right cause, we're gaining more of it, more freedom. But in general, you mentioned Atma and Jivatma, Jiva and Atma. So Atma is referred to, so speaking, getting back to the creation of the universe. So in the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, the living entity is a part, Atma is a part of Brahman, Brahma Jyoti. So, and then in some point of eternity, those living entities, they acquire individuality. So they become separate from oneness of Brahman. And that individuality is illusory. So the first formation of the first step from Brahmajyoti into material world is Atma, and the Atma is not conditioned by the experience. But when the Atma acquires ahankar, or falsely acquired sense of self, it becomes jiva. So the Atma which already acts in a particular form, as a result of its self-identification becomes jiva. So technically speaking, that's what they refer to.
So would you say that the ego is jivatma?
So ego is referred to sense of self, or ahankar. Because as soon as we try to answer the question, who am I see a particular role, my role, like mother, grandmother, friend, human, brother, sister. So the whole variety of relationships occur which somehow suggest us what is our form of duty. And actually that duty is something what is given to us as a first step from which we can go deeper into realizing who we really are. So we have a certain arrangement within the environment for us, and this arrangement is such that everyone wants something. Everyone everyone kind of suggests us what is our form of duty for them. So the Lord provided this arrangement so we can selflessly adhere to our duty, as a means of that acquire a deeper understanding of who we are. So at the moment we fully identify with the body and with the social role we take in a society. But then if we use that form of duty and selflessly adhere to it, in a technical language is called karma yoga, when we selflessly adhere to the duty, that turns into jnana yoga. So that means that one disentangling himself from the illusory understanding of who he is. The social role you think you are, you're just doing it as a prescribed duty, and you stop fully identifying with it, because in the end of the day we're not men, we're not women, we're not fathers, mothers. It's all like a theater, like a play. And so we are prescribed to adhere to the duties which are surrounding us as a means for self-realization. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he refers to duty of the heart, duty of the soul, and he refers to it as a jiva dharma. So in order for a living entity to get acquire understanding of Jaiva Dharma, it has to adhere to external karma. Like if I identify as a human being, then I have to live according to those standards, so to say. And by selflessly adhering to external duties, then there's a way to go deeper within and realize that I'm not really a body, but I'm a soul who is undergoing the experience of this human form, so to say. And then there's a whole variety of teachings who establish the goal of spiritual practice. So what we hear in Vedas, they prescribe freedom from material bondage as the highest attainment of the living entity. And then they prescribe this formula. They say dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So by doing your duty in life, you will acquire prosperity. The prosperity which you would acquire would help you to fulfill your desires. So dharma, artha, prosperity, leading to kama, the fulfillment of desires, and finally moksha. Understanding that the world has nothing to offer to you, that the fulfillment becomes in abandoning and becoming free. Moksha is referred to freedom from the world, or in a technically speaking, when Atma, Jiva, goes back into Brahma Jyoti and vanishes there. So self forgets and vanishes in the blissfulness in eternity. Sayujya Mukti. So that's what they're referring to. But Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Mahaprabhu, he rejects Vedas. He says that liberation from suffering cannot be the final goal of life. So waking up from a nightmare, that's not a goal. I mean, it may appear as a goal when you're suffering, where you are in a conditioned state, but he says that love and beauty, this is the goal. Not freedom from negative, but positive, something positive. And so that's what the Bhagavatam starts with. When the Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the main texts of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They study it, and it establishes the so to say the highest ideal. And when it starts with this story when one king, Parikshit Maharaj, is cursed by one Brahmana boy, and he knows that in 7 days he will die. And he is a king, he is wealthy, he has everything, he has a kingdom, wealth, everyone loves him, he's like acquired everything. And he realizes that 7 days left and there's not much to do. And then he renounces everything, and he goes on the banks of the river to find his last shelter and get. And then he finds a lot of sages and wise men who are gathering there, sitting and talking with each other. And he asks them questions about what is the life, what's the point of life, what's the purpose of life. And those sages, they start answering their questions, but their knowledge is basically, they're telling them Vedas. Ultimately, they're prescribing him that the freedom from materials is the goal of life. But he's not satisfied with those answers. And then he meets this boy, 16-year-old boy, Shukadev Goswami, who answers his questions. And this is how Bhagavatam starts. And from there, there's a discussion, and throughout the whole journey, one who reads it, he acquires a new understanding of what is reality and what's the goal. Because in order to reach the goal, you need to know where you are, what's the journey, and what's the goal. Because we are conditioned, and we understand what is the reality based on our senses. The sensual experience, we scientific paradigm, we use it as a fundamental way of learning about what is the reality. But the Bhagavatam, it describes a different version of reality, not based on the experience of the senses, but based on the revelation, Amnaya Tattva, the revelation from the heart of the saint. And by studying scriptures, by studying Shastra, we can, I would say, remove wrongly acquired conclusion based on the senses, and we can embrace the revelations of the Shastra, and that would help us to understand where we are actually. Because if I try to understand who am I, where I am, based on the experience of the senses, I will inevitably come to a wrong conclusion.
Because I was just thinking that, when you get issues in life, I try to understand, like, not faulting the other person, obviously, but it's like, what am I learning here? What is the lesson here? Where did I go wrong? Or, is there something I need to change within? But you don't always get the answers, so it's a bit difficult.
Yeah. It's always like every case is unique, so to say. But in general, the fact that you are trying to understand what you need to do, that's a very good, because most of the people, they just blame the environment, saying that something like, this is my enemy, that's why this happens. Or so in general, we need to understand that everything is karma. So all the experiences we are getting in life, this is the result of our previous activities. And people or circumstances who are bring those experiences, it's like a postman. So like when you receive a postage and the postman brings you don't necessarily hate him for what he brings you. You realize that he just the delivery driver who just brings you what you ordered previously. So
don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. In that sense, it's the environment is friendly. It actually helps us to. Reflect and. Tatenu kampam, that Sudarshan likes that phrase, that every wave is favorable. The environment is helping us. It's just when we don't have sambandha gyan, we don't have a understanding, shastric understanding, we tend to interpret that in the wrong way. So there's this shloka, Om Jnana Timiranda, this is the popular one, Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumenta, saying that the guru, he gives you the vision. So by surrendering to the guru and by serving Gurudev and devotees, one can acquire a particular angle of vision, and then the events in the environment, they would help us actually. It wouldn't be some random circumstances, which it would be almost like a conversation with the environment. So God speaks with us in a language of circumstances. We speak with sentences, but He speaks with us in the circumstances, and sometimes sometimes those circumstances can be tough, difficult, and painful. But if we properly, if we have a proper interpretation of that, it can be very helpful, and it can help us progress and show where we go wrong, where we... In general, everything is to help us.
So in my very simple understanding, I feel that, before we take birth, we've written a contract as to what we're going to go through in this life. And it's not God that punishes us, it's the forces of nature that's in place, so that everything comes at the right time, at the appropriate time, and this is where our lessons start. This is where we have to learn something and put it right. And our Atma takes it off and say, yes, you've had this experience, what have you learned from it, That's my very simple understanding.
In general, by the end of our life, our new life is already ready on a subtle plane. So when person is on his deathbed and he is about to leave the body, his future is already formed. His body, his circumstances. And the amount of suffering and pleasure we are going through in life, it's already predestined to a certain extent because of our previous activities. But then, and that's why there's no point of trying to eliminate suffering or enhance more enjoyment in life, because we're not going to get less or more of that. It's fixed to a certain extent. But what we can do is do our duty selflessly, so for the environment, and then in this way we kind of burn our karma, our debts. We give away the debts, so to say. But then at the same time we have some freedom, and then this freedom, someone has more, someone has less. But then that can be utilized for something. We can either utilize it for enjoyment and try to increase the quality of our life, or we can use it for spiritual advancement. And that's what's advised. Amidst going through karma, whatever we have to experience in this life, we do that, but then that free time which we have left is we have to really use it for spiritual cultivation. Because in the end of the day, it doesn't matter, is it a good dream or bad dream? A dream is a dream. But we aspire for reality. You see, our desire for happiness is real. We seek for happiness, but the problem is that we look for it in a dream. We try to fulfill our real ambitions in the illusory environment. It's the same thing as trying to fulfill the hunger by looking on the pages of the book. The dish looks very nice and pleasant, but it will never bring you fulfillment. It will never eliminate your hunger. But what will is that the service to the Lord. So that's the food which would eliminate that feeling of voidness and emptiness.
Well, that's what I think, because I retired last week, and then suddenly I finished work on Wednesday, and then I thought, wow, I feel so defeated. Where's the, where am I going to get this from? So I went to Hare Krishna temple in Watford. I've done my 45 years of service in the materialistic world, and I am tired. And I need something else. So I was looking. It's not money. It's all done now. It's finished. And I think, where am I? Am I any further than where I was when I started working? And I think it's all material, And I have to say, the grace of God, I'm okay, and my daughter will be fine, But now it's like, it's a different role I want to take, where it's more fulfilling, it's more soul feeling like that. I don't know.
Nourishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they say that yeah. They say that hunger is a sign of a good health. So, because when we are hungry for spiritual things, it's very evident, and we can fulfill that hunger. But normally, with people, they try to fill that void with experiences, with like pleasant experiences, or with attempt to fulfill their ambitions in life. So they try to fill that void with that constant sense gratifications, or aspiring for something great and going for it, like building dreams. Like always having some picture there. Okay, maybe not now, but next week or next year. Like I'm getting there. Always putting something, but it's like dreams. It's nothing to do with reality. Because we don't have a solid understanding of who we are, therefore we can't say what is happiness for us. Because picturing a holiday in Maldives, that's the aspiration for happiness for the body, but while during the spiritual practice our understanding of who we are will naturally change, and as a result of that the aspirations for things will change, right? When you're little, you aspire for chocolate.
I am here, but I don't know where to start. But this is a start for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what the next step is.
What should be the next steps?
I always felt easy, felt like the best things to start with is not what to do, but what not to do. So by avoiding things we shouldn't do, we would naturally come to wisdom. So I think it was Aristotle. He was saying that I don't teach wisdom. I don't teach my students wisdom. I teach them to not. I make them abandon ignorance, and wisdom naturally happens. So if we avoid try as much as possible, try to avoid things which are hurtful for our spiritual life, and if we surround ourselves by people who, like ourselves, aspire for spiritual things, then it will naturally rub off and help. If you want to know maths, you go in the company of those who are passionate about it, and you eliminate those things which is not math. So exactly for this reason, there is this facility where those who aspire for spiritual life can gather together, share realizations, read Shastra, sing Kirtan, do Arati. So all the activities in this facility is centered around God, and by adjusting oneself and by serving the Lord, some realization will come and some understanding and fulfillment as well. Because that heart fulfillment is very hard to find. But through service and through devotional service to the Lord and devotees, that's possible. And that is the method, and that is the goal, and it is the method at the same time. Yeah.
That's what's so nice about the Maha Mantra, for instance, like congregational chanting. It's the beginning, middle, and end, right? You start to go deeper with your practicing life. Start to want to need to chant the Maha Mantra. Then, as a sadhana, you try to cultivate that, and even in the highest, those that are fully realized, they want to chant the Maha Mantra. So it's It's quite magical, actually.
Yeah. So in general, our it's all about the perspective of on things, like, because sometimes we're very busy with life, we have so many responsibilities, we have to do so many things, and every now and then we have time to just come to the temple. But what is recommended is to acquire a particular angle of vision of certain things, because if we treat things in life as a form of duty prescribed to us and by the Lord, then we don't utilize those duties for attaining ambitions in life, but we use those duties for spiritual advancement. So I don't serve, I don't know, my family, my employer for any gain, but I do that because the Lord put me in those circumstances, and by doing so selflessly, there's some finer understanding occurs. Who I am, and when that understanding occurs, then you can engage the deeper parts of self in service, and that's a very gradual process. Everything starts with like just external, like, but then it goes deeper, 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 because at some point you realize that role you're playing, that they call you mom, or dad, or this is not really you. This is just the role you're taking. But there is a entity within who also has some spiritual ambitions, so to say. He wants to serve. By getting closer to that realization, we can progress, so to say.
So would it be right to say, I have a daughter, I'm married and I have a daughter. So in a very small way, would it be right in saying that, yes, I'm here to serve my daughter and my husband, but not as a wife, but as an entity?
The Lord did a particular... You see, that's interesting. The people who are coming into our life, we are indebted to them.
Yes.
When the child is born, by coming into your life, it's basically saying, oh, you have to work hard for the next 18 years just to raise me. And then, like, why? Like, why have to put so much effort? Is there some debt between living entities? But then, while you're giving away that debt, to realize that it's not the purpose of life in a way. It's some arrangement, external arrangement, which at some point will not be there anymore. But we're not about that. It's just a temporary arrangement. But we're eternal, and there are also some jiva dharma, or duty of the heart, right? But to get that, we have to impeccably adhere to the duties which are surrounding us.
Then would it be correct in thinking that sometimes you end up in such a situation that you can't do anything, and you think, I think I've done my duty, and that's it, because some other person has or thinks it's got a bigger role to play, and then you can't do anything. You're put in a situation where you can't do anything, and you say, okay, I think my debt is paid for.
Yeah, I think through prayer and through like a very like prayerful sincerity is invincible. Like if you're sincere, and if you sincerely like approach the situation and you kind of trying to understand, I think it will be revealed. Like what's your next step. Sometimes you say, okay, my job is done here. I did my part.
It's like being made redundant.
Yeah.
You're made redundant. You can't say, "I'll give you a job, keep
Yeah.
me," you know, and you think,
because sometimes it can be a attempt to avoid duty, but sometimes it can be a genuine understanding that's done. So no one can say, no one will be able to advise you on that, because by being sincere and by sincerely approaching like that matter, you can the answer will be revealed.
with something like that, it's also quite, isn't it, like, well, these things happen in our lives and they're sometimes quite clear, okay, this is the end of a chapter. And
sometimes not so clear.
Not so clear also sometimes.
But I think if you, what we have experienced, all of us, we have done our duty in the world, in the Varna Ashram Dharma, right? So then, if we take the spiritual life, a lot of our environment says, what you doing?
Yes.
Where are you going? And then you, because the children are grown up, you have taken care of everything, everybody has their own responsibility in life. And ultimately, the responsibility of everybody in life is to go back to God. So, even though your whole environment says, what you're doing, that is for us too so difficult that you do that, we don't like it, we like to eat, for example, we like to eat fish or something, and now you're vegetarian, something like that, right? So then you give your respect and you say, this is my choice. Because actually then you will become an example, even though they don't know yet. You will give them, but you always stay kind and helpful, but at a certain time, if we are serious, our responsibility and our time is for our Lord. And the rest will be more kind and nice and helpful, and then you have,
This is a question of whether a social duty sometimes trumps on spiritual duty, like the duty of the heart. And when in Bhagavad Gita, that's the one of the topics that what happens if the social duty sometimes contradicts my duty of the heart or what I need to do, my spiritual interest. And it's a very difficult situation, but in general, we have to go along with the duty of the heart, the spiritual.
Because sometimes family can be claiming, you know, and to be nice and respectful, but still firm. That this is my. They do their thing.
Yes.
They chose to be that.
They say you have to impeccably do your duty, but without heart. However weird it sounds, but the heart has to be with the Lord. Social duties, you do everything very well, just how it's meant to be done. But the heart has to be always because if you invest heart in something material, then you'll be disappointed, you know. My mother, for example, she was married for 35 years to my father, and they had a very good relationship, very loving. Not so often you come across such a... And then he just died after 35 years of together. And because she fully invested herself in that relationship, she fully saw that that's the meaning of her life. That was the meaning of her life, in fact. She was heartbroken after, because she fully invested her heart in it, and then he was just gone. And so everything in this world is temporary, and we should treat things as a duty prescribed to us by the Lord, and we should adhere to them until that arrangement is in place. But we always should. The heart should always be with the Lord, not with
something outside yourself. It's actually the irony, because to have a good relationship that is laudable in a material world.
Yeah.
But to understand, actually, and then continuing, and then the partner dies,
and then you're left with nothing. And being a bit proud maybe that you have that also, while you see so many people, they separated. But actually to understand, there's a lot of enjoyment in partnership. And the whole transformation of going from material existence to spiritual, transcendental life is like you make the shift from being an egoistic person to a selfless person, to purify by the holy name, because we have anger within us, frustration, we have anxiety, we have bewilderment. All these things are from lifetimes, because we are not pure. So the whole journey in spiritual life is a journey inside. And by being humble, by being tolerant, by being giving honor to others, by don't expect any honor for yourself, the teaching of Mahaprabhu, who is Radha and Krishna combined, you see him as the avatar for this Kali Yuga, and all the time chanting. The chanting of the holy name is the highest. I read it this morning, like that was very nice. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said in a meeting, he says, alas, I repent that I have not been telling enough of the importance of the holy name. Because the holy name is everything for us. The holy name will bring us out. All the time chanting. Saraswati Thakur said that. I thought that was very, very revealing. The holy name is everything. Sorry, I took so long.
Holy name is in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. The devotees, they pray to the Lord, but in the Christian tradition, the prayer normally means, oh, can I get this or that, asking for something. But in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, the devotees don't ask for things. They want to be utilized by the Lord in service. So they aspire for service, and they don't ask for things. And that request, that plea, that request is ongoing. It's not like when you call someone, beep beep, and then you put it back. Like that. You're always on the line. Sometimes you call somewhere. You have to sometimes sit for half an hour until they pick up the phone. So with the Lord, you have to always pray, and that's an undercurrent feeling which you go with throughout the days. Never, you always pray, and that is, if you want to break it down and show how it form of it, that's Mahamantra. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that's the prayer which the devotee lives with, so to say, and within that prayer is the aspiration, a plea to please engage me in service. Don't let me forget about you, and do anything but make me remember about you, and please let me serve. Arrange something around me as such that I can be of help to those who are already serving. Who am I to rush and serve directly? At least provide me with some arrangement where I can help those who help those who help those who serve. And that's the highest aspiration.
So it is okay for me to, I always ask God to give me strength, intelligence, Shaktis, Satguru, and intelligence. These are the three things I ask God for, just to live my life,
Yeah.
But that's fine, isn't it? I'm not asking for things.
Yeah, it's service connection is the real connection. If he is merciful to the jiva, he sends his agents of his plane, and then we can serve them, and through serving them we get a genuine connection, and then some purification happens, some self-reflection, some understanding what's next, how can I adjust, what I have to do. It's almost, I think Srila Prabhupada gave an example of standing under the shower. You can be covered in mud. If you're totally out of it, but still you stand under the shower, you will naturally become cleansed. And then some consciousness would come, some understanding. Because I think Goswami Maharaj was saying that before Krishna consciousness comes consciousness. In the sense that we now are not even conscious. I mean, at least I can speak about myself. Conscious in eternity, we consider ourselves to be bodies and personalities. But that's not us. This is the vehicle we drive. This is the tool we use in this reality. So first comes the realization of who I actually am. I, as an observer, who am I? And so it's a very important step, understanding of that. So if we have a practice of waking up, practice that, and we try to surrender to the Lord and do service, then it's going to be right. If something belongs to you, and you naturally look after it. So if you don't belong to yourself, but you give yourself up to the Lord, He will take care of you. And then you shouldn't be worried about things so much. Like a child, and he's running in the house, he is totally invincible, and he doesn't care about problems because everything is taken care of. Because the parents are home. He is totally surrendered to the parents. The same with devotee. The devotee is surrendered to the Lord, and whatever comes, bring it on. I'll happily go through this. Because if you arrange that for me, that means that you know this is good for me. So I'll happily accept it, whether it's beating or sweets. Yeah.
Mahaprabhu ki jai. Thank you so much. Thank you.
please do. Now it's
It's going to
Artie.
be Artie now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You don't want to miss that.
So this is the data, this is the avatar. Now, Sri Krishna who is Radharani and Krishna combined for this age to say we have to be humble, we have to be with honor others, and always chanting.
Si quieres ponte aquí en el medio.
Because without our mind is all over the place and it's chock full of lifetimes.
Aja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Aja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Asya Advaita Gaura Bhakta Bye. Jai.
Yeah.